What's up, Chelsea fans? Welcome back to the London is Blue podcast, solo edition. Solo Nick, Dan out for a well-deserved rest week. He and his wife were celebrating their anniversary, so congratulations to them. CFC Central studying film as we speak for everything that's going on, and you know by now, season's over. Immediately transfer stuff right in to the London is Blue podcast feed. And we're not going to make you wait till Monday because that would just not be fair. What we do here is provide the most timely, relevant information that we can so that you can head into the weekend with a boatload of confidence. And if you're like, hey, Nick, why are you doing this solo? Why isn't CFC Central breaking it down right next to you? Have no fear. Sam is going to be producing more content over the next month than any human is allowed to do. But he also needs to actually do his film study and get his analysis down first. And he's a professional, so I'm going to do the quick hit here. Let's talk about the news, and then we will be back with full breakdowns on Liam Delap, on Hugo Ekitike. That's going to be a fun one to learn how to say. And so many others as we get through the transfer window. We also have a Matt Law special coming on Monday and tons of other great content. If it's summer, you know that the London is Blue podcast is producing content like crazy. So I will stop bearing the lead here. Of course, we're going to be talking about Liam Delap and so many others for a quick news hit. But just a note that summer tour, Club World Cup coming up. You know that we're sponsored by Michelob Ultra. We're going to be having some parties. We're doing a slight tweak to the agenda. So if you're like, hey, I thought I saw a tweet go out. You did. We just needed to make a slight tweak to the agenda before we officially publish. But if you're going to be in New York, Atlanta, or Philadelphia, know that we're coming to your city. We are going to be throwing parties. We're going to have some free beer, some prizes, some trivia, some fun stuff, and just have a good time. Just have a good hang. So sorry for the delays. It's been a little bit up and down on just getting all that stuff out, but promise, it's coming. Okay. Like I said, we're not bearing the lead here. We're doing what we do. Chelsea, not even 24 hours after completing the set, lifting the UECL in beautiful fashion, 4-1 over Al Batiste. We knew with, Matt and so many others saying that Chelsea were going to get down to business very quickly. There's this very limited transfer window coming up before the Club World Cup to get some quick business done before that tournament. We know that Chelsea have their eye on a lot of targets that are going to be competitive targets this year, not only in price point, but in profile, and other clubs wanting the same targets that we want. So to get those targets, you have to act quickly. So not even 24 hours. And credit to Ben Jacobs, who actually said that Liam Delap was closer to signed for Chelsea than not, as the UECL was finishing up. This is, I give him a ton of credit for breaking it. You have Ornstein, you have Fabrizio, you have Naz, you have so many others talking about Liam Delap to Chelsea. This is not a new name. This is not a name that we're all shocked or surprised by. We knew back in the fall that Chelsea were tracking Liam Delap incredibly carefully. It's a £30 million release clause to Ipswich Town. 30% goes to Manchester City, who developed him. He comes from the same academy as Cole Palmer, as Jadon Sancho, as Romeo Lavia, as Enzo Maresca, and Joe Shields. This is a player that is well known from the Manchester City perspective, and because Chelsea are made up of a lot of Manchester City talent now, will be well known by his teammates as he comes in. But we got the official, here we go. We got the official David Ornstein tweet saying that Chelsea strike total agreement with Ipswich Town to sign Liam Delap. We activate the £30 million release clause in the contract. Personal terms still yet to be agreed. I think they are agreed at the time that you're listening to this. This is the news of the day. Chelsea were competing with a lot of different clubs for Liam Delap's signature, and because we are now in the Champions League, because we did the business, because we are now trophy winners again for the first time in 4 years, we have the first pick of a lot of the litter. And Liam Delap, I think, looked around at his options. Manchester United, ugh, gross. Who would want to do that? Maybe some other teams, and goes, I'm feeling what they got going on at Chelsea right now. I like what's going on over there. I think the project's interesting. I think the fact that Chelsea haven't had a two-striker setup in some time is really an advantageous position for me to enter. I know the manager. I know the system. I know my teammates. I mean, you think about Delap, who is only 22, probably going to play in the Under-20 World Cup this summer. This is a guy who's alongside Cole, alongside Noni, alongside a lot of these young guys, just entering into the real start of their Premier League journey. And this is it's really interesting because it's a different profile of player than we have been kind of looking at and tracking. He is different than Nico Jackson is in that role. He's different than some of the other profile strikers that we're looking at in that role. Quick primer to what CFC Central, our good friend Sam, will say. Said on Delap, I believe it's a low risk, high reward move. Price tag aside, he has some very good fundamentals you can polish. He's technically neat for a big man, and his movement in the box is an upgrade over Nico's. The optics matter too, of course. Maresca, Shields, et al. Know him. I think there's a strong chance that we get a second center forward too if Liverpool don't steal Ekitike. So, let's talk about the price tag. Incredibly affordable. He's not going to come in and break the wage structure like some of the other strikers that I think we'll talk about in a second. Two, from a character perspective, he is talked about as a high character, high EQ, very agreeable type of signing. And we know that in the club's strategy and structure, those types of players are preferred over players who might not make that sort of conclusion come to bear. So he clearly has that. He's clearly a big, tall lad. He's strong. We saw him bully us in December when we played at Ipswich Town. We know that he has some good fundamentals. We know that he played in an Ipswich team that wasn't very good, that struggled to create and score a lot in the Premier League. And just to paint a picture for what that means, we had 93 big chances, Chelsea did, in the Premier League this year. Ipswich Town had 46. We had more than double Ipswich Town's big chances in the Premier League this year. And the fact that he scored 12 goals, got 2 assists from those 46 big chances is not nothing. This is a good player. He is not the finished article yet. He's 22 years old. He still has a lot to clean up. And, for anyone who followed Didier Drogba's, I'm not comparing them, but just Didier Drogba's journey didn't really start hitting his peak till 25, 26, 27. And then we saw what the peak looked like. He is a real player. Looking at his heat map, the other thing that is really beloved about him is he does the dirty work from a defensive standpoint. His heat map, if you go to SofaScore, is basically the entire field. Now, part of that is Ipswich Town did not outpossess many teams this season. They were on the back foot. He played a lot of counterattacking football. He got in behind. He made a lot of those runs. A little more on the left, like coming off the left-hand side than the right-hand side. But there's yellow dots for Liam Delap's contributions all over the map. And a good amount that are in the box, which is something that, if you think about how Chelsea were wasteful again this season, was a really, really good thing to see when kind of looking at his heat map. I did compare using the McGlock app from our good friend Dimitri, Liam Delap and Nicholas Jackson. It shouldn't be any surprise Nicholas Jackson is a more complete player right now than Liam Delap is. Nicholas Jackson played 2,200 minutes roughly. Liam Delap played almost 2,600 minutes. So Nicholas Jackson hurt for I think just slightly longer than Liam Delap. So non-penalty goals. Nico edges out Liam Delap 0.41 to 0.35. Non-penalty XG per shot barely edged him out 0.15 to 0.12. Non-penalty XG 0.46 to 0.28. Self-created shot percentage. This is one of the three categories, I should say, where Liam Delap exceeds Nicholas Jackson in score on the McGlock app. 19.7 to Nico's 11.8. Nico does need to have a lot of shots put on his foot to score. Liam Delap can create his own magic, can create his own luck, which is really good. The other one is successful dribbles, surprisingly. Liam Delap, 1.4 to Nico's 0.7. And then the other one is shooting percentage, where Liam Delap had a 15.2 to Nico's 13.2. I think we could agree they would both need to up that to get to the 20 goal a season striker that we need at Chelsea Football Club. But yeah, Jackson is better in many other categories, in interceptions and tackles. He definitely has fewer turnovers. That wouldn't be a surprise in that Ipswich team. Assists, he's better on assists. He's better on passing percentage by a fair distance. Nico's a much better passer. Nico does take more shots per game and the rest, but not bad for a guy who played at Ipswich versus a guy who played at Chelsea, who had double the big chances created. I think that's a pretty decent thing. So what will Liam Delap become at Chelsea? I will let Sam talk about that at length, because I do think porting over the 12 goals and 2 assists in the league that he had to, get up there to 17, 18, 19 is not a huge stretch. If he was given the same sorts of minutes and had even more big chances to convert, I think the math is pretty easy to do there. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he fits in. We'll have to see if the system changes next year. Maybe Enzo Maresca has an epiphany and we go to a classic 4-3-3 where we're having a midfielder crash the box a little more often and all that sort of stuff. We'll have to really see. But for now, this is the first big signing of the summer window. Liam Delap to Chelsea, something been rumored for a long time. Incredibly affordable release clause, basically a no-risk transfer at £30 million, similar to Nico Jackson a couple of years ago in price range. I will say that Nico's experience playing in La Liga and now playing in the Premier League is greater than what Liam Delap has, so Liam has to catch up to that experience level. But heck of a signing, 22 and 23 years old. The front line of Chelsea starting to take a turn for the better, I think. When we come right back from our ad break, we'll talk about a couple of other profiles just to get a quick one in on a Friday. So thanks to sponsors, and we'll be right back. You didn't think we were just going to stop at Liam Delap for your news update, did you? We're going to also talk about Hugo Ekitike. So this is a transfer that we are also going to plan a bigger special on, assuming that there is an actual signing of the player. But Hugo Ekitike has been rumored to Chelsea for a little over a week. Pletty Goal, who is very popular on Twitter, Sky Sports Germany, a lot of very trustworthy sources within German media reporting that Chelsea and Liverpool are after Ekitike. The transfer fee on this one ranges, depending on who you believe, from £70 million to £90 million, an extremely expensive transfer for a player with, I think a huge profile, a hugely successful season at Eintracht Frankfurt. The reporting that we got today with the Liam Delap transfer is that this does not affect a potential move for Ekitike. Chelsea are still pushing for this signing. Liverpool are also pushing for this signing. I think both teams in need of a 20 goal setup number 9. And this is, for all intents and purposes, kind of a race to the top in this very short transfer window to see who can agree on terms. Hugo Ekitike is coming off of a massive season, a breakout season, 15 goals, 8 assists in the Bundesliga, 3 goals, 1 assist in the Pokal, the Cup, and then 4 goals, 3 assists in the Europa League. They obviously did not win it, but he was a major component to that. That's 34 goals and assists combined, 22 goals, 12 assists. A player who, you really look at his profile, breakout year, Bundesliga. A lot of people I talked to nervous about that. We've obviously had a couple of strikes against Bundesliga players at Chelsea Football Club, and wondering if the sort of profile transitions over. Again, Sam and I will be doing a breakdown of Ekitike for sure. But just to give you a sense of where he is versus forwards, given FB ref statistics, he's in the 90th percentile for non-penalty XG. He's in the 93rd percentile for shots total. He's in the 95th percentile for expected assists and goals. He's in the 96th percentile for non-penalty XG and non-penalty assists as well. And he's in the 94th percentile for shot creating actions. He also is huge, 96th percentile on progressive carries, successful take-ons, touches, and progressive passes, just slightly lower in the 94th and 91st percentile. Big player. Potentially a generational talent. 6'2.5", big. This is a guy who moves like a much smaller player than what he is. Quick. He has actually a decent interception rate as well. He's in the 85th percentile for forwards at 0.3 interceptions a game. So one to look out for. We're gonna certainly do more, but it looks like Chelsea might be saying what we've been saying on the podcast for the last couple of months. The shot conversion has not been good enough, and we need to go find bona fide strikers who can put the ball in the back of the net when it hits their foot in the box. And Liam Delap, a little bit more of a bull, a little bit stronger, might bully a team or two. Ekitike might skill his way in. What this means for Nico Jackson, there's also Gyökeres and Osimhen and others, right? Which we'll talk about in a second. What this means for Nico Jackson is super interesting. If Chelsea do sign two strikers, there are essentially two options for Nico, right? First option is that Nico leaves, is sold, or is loaned and then sold. For whatever reason, did not have a good second half of the season. We all know about the letdown against Newcastle. We all know that he scores off his chest thanks to Cole Palmer's brilliance in the final, the Conference League final. Or does Nico Jackson potentially shift to a winger in a setup? Maybe we play with two strikers next season. We're in some sort of 4-4-2, 3-5-2. I don't know. But it would seem to me that if we're going after two strikers who could be upwards of 130 million pounds of total striker, maybe a little less, maybe 110, that would signal that Nico Jackson is kind of persona non grata at Chelsea. And I think that potentially is a mistake. Let me just be very clear about that. Now, I've been critical of Nico. I didn't love the way that he ended the season. I had my bone to pick with him for the red card and the stupidity and leaving his team in the lurch. I think you think about the comments that Maresca makes before the Conference League final, that his teammates had doubts in him because he let them down so much. I hope the Conference League final did something to kind of reinvigorate him. I know it wasn't the cleanest thing. I know he misses the breakaway. I know that there have been frustrating moments for him at Chelsea. I also know that the production that he's put forward in his first 2 years indicates a player who will get much, much better with time. He's tricky. He's talented. He holds the ball up incredibly well for a guy his size. He's not the biggest guy in the world. We've seen him on sprints give the likes of Saliba and Van Dijk and Konate all they could handle. He is incredibly quick. And when he's on a hot streak, is really, really, really good. The problem is we've seen the dips and bounces back. So that's going to be the major question here with the strikers, whether it is Ekitike, whether it is Gyökeres, whether it is Osimhen. I guess my question to you, whether you're on YouTube or you're able to put this into socials, maybe we'll put up a poll. If you had to choose, and you can only choose one of these things, 4 options: sign Ekitike, sign Gyökeres, sign Osimhen, or just keep Nico as either your starter or second striker with Liam Delap. What are you choosing and why? I would love to hear it. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Some other just quick hit transfer news here, because I know I said it was going to be quick, and we're getting out of here in 20 minutes or so. Rodrigo still popping up, according to AS in Spain. This is directly from one of their sources. At Chelsea, they like Rodrigo a lot. He meets all the requirements. Young, with experience at the elite level, with tremendous margin of evolution. The price will not be cheap, around 100 million pounds. They believe he could be one of the crown jewels next season. There have been informal inquiries, but the interest has not materialized formally, although it's expected that it will happen soon. In Stamford Bridge, they want to make a niche for him. Somewhere I hear Jess and Nath, who did our Chelsea and South America special last week, cheering effusively, excited. The prospect of Rodrigo joining Chelsea. I too am on this bandwagon. In fact, I think it's part of the reason that I would think about the fee that the strikers were going to take up. I know we need a bona fide number 9 up top. I know we need production from that striker role, but I also think we need a hell of a lot more production from the wings. We had Madueke, we had Sancho, we had Neto, we had Mudryk for a little bit. Just not really able to provide the production. Someone like Rodrigo will absolutely provide the production. Finishing quality is insane. Trickiness, skill, the ability to cut inside, the ability to function as a second striker. I can't tell you how excited I'd be. I think the fee, if it gets done, would have to be somewhere in like the £70 million range. Again, expensive. Not like Chelsea have a bunch of money to spend with FFP in UEFA and, of course, PSR in the Premier League. But it would be a player that I think would get the entire crowd off their seats and cheering like maniacs. So look out for the left wing. If not him, then Nico Williams from Athletic Club would be incredibly good for me. That does bring up Jadon Sancho. There have been reporting, Jacob Steinberg, Naz, and others, Chelsea either are going to opt to turn his loan into a permanent deal or not. It doesn't seem clear. I think the reporting most recent was that they were trying to work out whether he would take a pay cut to fit into the wage structure or not. I think if you're Jadon Sancho and you've been on these big wages, United paid big wages for him, and you come to Chelsea and you know that you don't have to go back to Manchester United and you can take a bit of a haircut, but play in a team that's going to play in the Champions League next year and be super competitive across the board. You probably do that if you can. But I also understand not wanting to take a pay cut as a human being. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what his players and what his representation for the player will do. Agents are not known for encouraging pay cuts, but we'll see what happens. The last one that I do is connected to Liam Delap, but I did want to bring up because the outgoings for Chelsea are so important, especially when you think about all the incomings that are potential for this team. Mark Guiu could be going to Ipswich as a part of the Liam Delap going to Chelsea thing. Now, it's not a swap deal. It's not any of these things that you would hear about in Fantasyland, but it's known that Kieran McKenna definitely enjoys the physical number 9. Mark Guiu is definitely a physical number 9. Super unfortunate for him that he had such a terrible hamstring groin injury after doing the splits in the Conference League. Just not a great move for him. But looked impressive at times for Chelsea when he was able to play in the Conference League. I think would have a really good time in the Championship, a really physical league, somewhere to cut his teeth. Obviously, Chelsea and Ipswich have a good relationship after we loaned then sold Amari Hutchinson to them. Liam Delap coming the other way, then potentially Guiu going on loan back over to Ipswich. Maybe a little bit of a relationship developing. We'll see. We'll see if they have a good year and are able to come back up to the Premier League next year. But look, we're going to wrap there because it's the weekend. There's a lot that's going to happen. Remember, the first 10 days of June are this special window before the Club World Cup. I hope the players are enjoying a couple of well-deserved rest days after completing a wonderful end of the season. Very happy that we completed the set. And Cole Palmer's being talked about like the world beater that he is. So let's get him some help from a goal scoring perspective and really, really compete next year. But would love to hear what you think about the strikers. Would love to hear what you think about potential sales and all of that. I promise you, Matt Law on Monday. Transfer specials next week with CFC Central. Women's team wrap up as well as that team's now into the international break. And Hannah Hampton is securely England's number one for the Euros. Lots going on in Chelsea-verse, but until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.